Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
Black versus the Board of Education.
Cause we can't get rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here. Cause we can't get rid of us now. And you know that we don't ever go to do what you want.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Miss Laureen, and I am the captain of the ship. And I know y'all can't wait till Melissa gets back into the captain's chair. She'll be here soon, I promise. But while we're waiting, I think Coco just popped in. Hey, girl, hey. While we're waiting, I want to let you know that this episode is called Silence is Still a Response. Today's conversation is about something families know all too well: silence. The unanswered email, the call that never gets returned, the meeting that keeps getting postponed, the follow-up that somehow never happens. And when the silence stretches on too long, families start asking themselves a difficult question. Well, I don't think it's that difficult, but is this incompetence or is this a strategy? Because silence does something very, very specific. It slows people down. It creates confusion. It shifts power. Families are often told to trust the process, but what happens when the process refuses to speak back? Today, we're examining how silence functions inside systems, who protects it, who pressures, and why some families get answers quickly while others are left waiting in the dark. Because the simple truth is, the truth is simple. Silence is not neutral. Silence is still a response. And with that, I'm going to let y'all meet some of the fabulous people that I have the opportunity to do life with. And so I'm going to start with the ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, Miss Coco, I'm going to start with you, baby girl.
Hello, y'all. My name is Coco. I'm a poet, an educator, an author, and the associate director of SAYS. I'm excited for our topic today.
Ooh, I'm excited that you're excited. That means it should be a good one. Mama P.
Hey, y'all. Patrice Mama P. Hill, a poet, educator, and most importantly, someone who loves Black children and is raising Black children, and looking forward to our topic today.
Perfect. And my co-host, my longest running co-host, because that's important. My baby is here. So go ahead and introduce yourself, love.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa. I am a second year studying African American Studies at UC Berkeley.
Now, I know that the Trump administration had to roll back some of their guidance. So has that affected you yet? Just yet? It hasn't? No?
Not that I know of. I mean, it's going to take a while to undo what has been done. And I don't know how it will be enforced on the campuses to make sure that what has been done will be undone, if that makes sense. I don't know how it'll be reinforced, how people will be held accountable. And then, this is a whole other conversation, but Berkeley has now been designated as a Black serving institution.
Has it?
Yes, it has. And that is a whole other episode we could do, because I have a lot to say about that.
Oh, and but while you talking though, tell me about the dean that was on y'all's campus that did that crazy post. Did they figure that out, or have they been addressing that or not?
So that girl has been kicked out of both of the clubs that she interns. She was a part of one internship. They found out and kicked her out, told her that was unacceptable. And one of the clubs that she was in, that one of like their motto or something is like they value like diversity and protecting identities. She got kicked out of that too, because they said that was unacceptable. The university itself has not done anything. I'm not surprised, but they have not done anything. But the triad, so the Black organizations or the head Black organizations of the university, released a statement urging the institution to do something. Will they? Who knows? But yeah, there was a lot that went down with that too. We had an interesting Black History Month on campus, and there was a whole bunch more that happened. That was just one of the things that was publicly done. There was a lot of stuff on campus that happened.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep our fingers on the pulse of UC Berkeley through Melissa. So we'll be getting back to you. And rounding us out today is our lone gentleman, but he's never the least, right? He's the most vocal of us all. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Mr. Fox, how's everybody out there doing?
Oh, and then you're going to come through all suave and debonair.
I more ladies I have to represent up here today.
I know that's right. Well, we're going to jump right in. And I saw your comment, Ms. Dominica. Yes, silence is something else, but that's because a lot of times people get silent because they don't want to say the wrong thing that will open them up for lawsuits, but that's a whole nother topic. So, family, when families are experiencing silence from schools, what message do you think the system is actually sending? I'm going to go to Mama P first. Hey, lady.
Hey. So when what message is the system sending? I think the message is multifold, but the first thing that comes to my mind is, one, let's protect ourselves by not saying anything. Not putting it in black and white allows no narrative or no. When they don't put answers in black and white, when they don't respond to emails, when they stay silent, they're either trying to devise a plan or they're protecting themselves. It's also a call. It's also a call that this is not important to us. You know what I mean? Right. That we are maintaining the status quo by not responding. And so I think it's multifold when what the system is doing when parents are met with silence. But it is also it also shows parents and it shows communities and it shows children that most of the time these schools don't know what they're doing. They're trying to devise plans. They're trying to cover things up. They're trying to gather information to protect themselves. But most importantly, they don't have an urgency to respond or figure, these situations out because these problems are important to them. So I'm gonna stop there.
Mr. Fox, at what point does delayed communication stop being disorganization and start looking like avoidance?
The moment it starts. Actually, when you guys was talking, fun fact for everybody. One of the telltale signs of domestic violence is silence.
Oh.
So when somebody's being silent like that, purposely being silent like that under domestic violence, it says it's a weapon. You're weaponizing information. You know I need this information. You know I'm waiting. You've seen the email. You've seen it come through. Now you have not responded. I need to know about my child that lives in my home every day that I see, that I can hear his voice right now or her voice right now, and you're not responding. And I'm worried or ticked off.
Yeah.
Or don't know what's going on or just need an answer. And you told me you would give me one. That's what your orientation packet was about. That's what the school system is about. That's what the school board, and that's what the other parents have told me as well. And they said, hey, just call the teacher. And you call the teacher and you can't get a call back, an email back at this. And to me, it's the message reads as it always read. You don't care.
So you actually are saying exactly what Ms. Donetta said in the comments. They simply don't care. And hey, Ms. Tawana, she said, hey, everybody. Coco, take that same question. At what point does delayed communication stop being disorganization and start looking like avoidance?
The moment it's delayed, that it's delayed, it start looking like avoidance. It start looking like they don't care. I think it come back to the first question, like they don't care. They're not into it. You know what I'm saying? And they're pushing it off. It's a way to keep their power up, to say that we are control and you don't matter, or your stories don't matter, or your students don't matter.
Melissa, who benefits when communication slows down?
The people who are not properly communicating. So people who don't benefit especially are the parents and the students, or the families that are trying to communicate what they need, who are trying to advocate for themselves. The people who are benefiting are the administration, because they get to go about their day, and if they have a student or a family who is being met with silence, sometimes that family does not know how to advocate for themselves back, and they will just be quiet in response. So it gets a family off their backs for a while until they remember, oh, wait, no, we're still trying to advocate for this issue. We have to keep going back and back and back and trying to advocate for whatever the issue is. But it benefits the people who choose not to care.
And, as you're talking, it reminded me. So this weekend, I had a chance to present at the Black Family Conference here in Elk Grove Unified School District. And in my session, I was talking about the emotional toll that advocacy plays on Black parents and how Black parents get into advocacy not because they want to, is because they need to. Some harm has taken place. And in one of my sessions, the lady was saying that her baby has been out of school since August. Okay. And I'm trying to figure out how it's March and this child has been out of school since August and nobody sees any real urgency to figure out or to mitigate that situation. And she said that she's been emailing the principal, that she has been emailing back and forth with the program manager, that she has an advocate from one of the community groups that's charging her that's tried to charge her $125 an hour to advocate for this Black boy who's been out of school since August. And I'm trying to figure out where they do that at. And so I'm like, nobody has been responding. And I said, call me. And I still haven't gotten a call from this parent, but I left her my phone number. Call me, because I don't understand how we put our kids in these schools. Specifically, this was an APS program over at Marion Mix Elementary School. He is in the 4th grade. Teacher's assistant or the teacher in the class kept tickling him. He does not like to be touched. The child said, no, stop. He was coming home traumatized. The mama pulled him out of that specific class because this man would not stop tickling him. And why is it that the man is still there, but the child is sitting at home since August? I don't understand.
And what do you mean tickling?
Yeah, why are you touching the child?
Right. And it's the kid's fault, not the adult's fault who couldn't keep his hands to himself.
Oh.
And nobody has
I'll be back at the school board meeting soon. But I'm just saying, we're doing things and then we're not being responsive. And the only person that really carries the brunt of that is the kid who misses his friends, right? Because we were more interested in protecting the adult than the child that we have purview over. And then number 2, we have people in the community that are charging people to help them mitigate situations when they could just come over here to BYOP for free. I'm just saying, and we probably would have gotten better results. So how does silence, family, how does silence wear people down wear families down over time, Patrice? How does silence from the schools wear families down emotionally over time?
You know, two quotes come to my mind. The first one is Zora Neale Hurston. She says, if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Right?
Audre Lorde,
I'm still thinking about what you said about the child not being in school since August, like and being tickled by an adult, like
tickled continuously.
Come on, like come on, like that's assault in my eyes. You're assaulting a child because you're touching a child that doesn't want to be touched. And I'm sorry, but tickling could be a form of grooming. And I truly believe that we continue to see these instances where young people are not protected. There's no reason why that child should.
And the problem that I'm having, y'all, to be honest, this is the second child with autism that has come across our desk in the last couple months, right? Second child with autism, and he has autism. And so I do know about autistic children. Sometimes that touching feels like little needles sometimes, and their bodies don't like certain sensations. So if a child is vocal enough to tell somebody no and stop, why didn't this adult just stop? And why does the mama still have to go back and forth about it? And go ahead, Patrice.
That's a violation.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that our internet is working better. I was just saying that this child is not being protected. That's a violation of their personal space. The adult should be reprimanded, but the emotional toll of silence, I can only imagine what that child is going through, like being displaced from their friends, being displaced from school, but also the emotional toll of the parent. This is a parent that has to be responsible for their child every day. Now, if that parent wasn't taking their child to school, if their child was missing that much school since August, then that parent would be reprimanded. And
Facts.
so where's the
Mm.
what responsibility does the school have to ensure this child has adequate placement in school? You know, the emotional toll is heavy. And I know that the school is just trying to protect itself, and when it should be protecting that child. And that adult that was tickling this child should not be allowed to be around children. I don't care. You don't tickle. If I see you in a store, I see you in a community space, and I just go up and start tickling your child, you're going to think that there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
That is not okay. It's just not acceptable.
Yeah. And Mr. Fox, I want you to weigh in too, because my understanding is there were 4 other kids removed from that particular class because of interactions with this particular adult. And this is just what I was told on Saturday. So I'm trying to figure out why the adult stays and the kids just go. Or is it a function of an inept school and an inept school program?
In situations like that, me myself, I don't like to blame children. I always hear people always say, "Hey, life be life and life be life," and I always be hearing everybody we say, "Hey, you know, some of the parents ain't taking care of the kids in the community, this, that." But me myself, my policy is I check the individuals around me. It's sometimes adults need to check adults. To me, I like in my, let's take for instance my car. You'll never see me riding 4 deep in my car. You'll never see me picking up dudes in my car and riding with them. You don't get no ride in my car. You don't take care of your kids. Don't call my phone. I want to hear none of your complaint if you don't take care of your kids, homie. So I'm not talking about no women. I'm just speaking of me as a man talking to other men. As me and my partners, you can't drink a soda with me, homie. You ain't taking care of your kids. I don't want to hear your conversation. Your breath of voice don't speak right here. Right. And I as another man check that energy in that room, in that situation right there. So I'm saying sometimes it's not foul for another adult to tell another adult they wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's not wrong for another adult to let it be known, hey, we ain't having that energy up in here, homie. Or sir or ma'am, or we not doing that. That's the community looking out for the community and saying what we not about. So yeah, I agree with Patricia saying no adult should be tickling no kid, but I as another adult though gonna be like, hey, homie, what's
why you keep doing that?
Keep doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other adults need to sometimes start checking other adults about that stuff.
Yeah. And I'm looking at all the comments, and you're right, Mr. Brookins. If somebody put their hands on one of the babies, it's going to be a major problem. And the problem is what schools like to focus on is the reaction and not what led up to the reaction, right? If I'm sending my kid to a school and they have this program in Elk Grove Unified School District called ABS. In ABS, I want to say it's Applied Behavioral Supports or I don't know the exact. I keep forgetting, but there's only certain schools that offer this program, and then there's Tier 1 and Tier 2, and in between these campuses, only certain ones offer certain things, and so. My understanding, the issue for the parent was that shipping him over to another school with this program presents hardship for her because she has other kids at this school. And so it's really hard to advocate for a parent to keep their kid in a situation that seems very unsafe to me. And I don't know if they're not willing to address the concerns. How do we think that they're adequately going to be able to serve that young person, right? And so is responsiveness influenced by how safe a parent is perceived to be?
Say it again.
Is responsiveness from a school influenced by how safe a parent is perceived to be?
By how safe a parent
Melissa
is perceived to be.
I think it can be. I think that schools can try to not target, but look at the way that parents show up and try and categorize them. Oh, they're going to be an easy parent, like respond if they think they're going to be an easy parent or an easy family. And I think they try to categorize by the way that, like I said, like how parents show up, but that is only surface level to how parents are able to show up. That doesn't always reflect intention and things like that. It could, if there are like parent teacher conferences, for example, and parents who are working 2 and 3 jobs cannot make those those conferences, and if there's an issue that a parent is now trying to complain about, to advocate for their child, and the school is looking at them, oh, well, they didn't show up or they didn't do this and that, so we're going to be able to be silent to them, not respond to their issue, and they're not going to show up to advocate for their child. I feel like in that instance, yes, I do think the way that schools respond to families can be influenced by the way that the school views the families, because schools don't get to try to know parents. They don't get to try to know families. They barely get to try to know the kids that are in their classrooms. Mm-hmm. So it's not right, but it definitely does happen.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and this is, anybody can take this. What role do race, class, and perceived power play in who receives timely communication? Come on, Patrice. Patrice shook her head.
Now you know. Now you know, sis. And you know, technical difficulties are happening in our center right now, so please forgive me if I go out. But of course, all that plays a factor. You know, race, class, socioeconomic status, perceived safeness of a parent, right? A school is not going to respond immediately to any of us on this call because they know that we got our facts in order. They know that we.
You said they're not going to respond immediately? Yes, ma'am. Because I'll pull up.
You know, yes, they're going to get their ducks in a row though before they respond to us. They're not just going to give us an immediate response right off the bat. They're going to make, okay, hold on, Lorene is emailing. We gotta, call everybody, make sure you got your educational code. You know what I mean? Make sure that we have our backups. We might have to call the school resource officer of Mr. Fox coming up here because we want to make sure that we have it all in order. But if I'm a safe parent and I'm not perceived as a threat, it might be a different story. So I do think that race, class, socioeconomic status, all of these things play a role in the way that a school communicates. It plays a role in the way that a school handles certain issues. And I also believe that it plays a role in the ways that solutions are presented. I can go on and on about that, but we know also that, there are different types of parents. And sometimes we have our ducks in a row when we're communicating effectively. And sometimes, we don't communicate effectively because, if you're harming a child, that takes you out of your character as a parent, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be worried about being politically correct if you've harmed my child. Right. Somebody gonna have to see me about what's happening with my child. Like Mr. Brookins said in the comments, you gonna have to deal with me, right? Like it's gonna be a major problem. I'm not even worried about the school now. Now I'm worried about what I got to do to protect my child. So I think that all these things play a factor. But when it comes to race, class, and gender, socioeconomic status, we know who schools are responding to immediately and proficiently and who they're not responding to immediately and proficiently.
Coco, what does it do to a parent when they feel ignored while their child is still in the same environment?
It can make a parent mad. It can make a parent fester. It can make you mean like if the parents ignored about what's happening to their children on campus? Mm-hmm. It can make a parent mad. It can make a parent react in a way that they're not, usually going to react. If you're not responding to what I need or responding to my child's need, or you're going to do like the mother you talked about earlier, pull my child for a whole school year, not really paying attention to my child is missing the whole 4th grade, but if that's what I have to do because I'm not getting response and my child needs to be protected, I'm going to do what I have to do. So when a parent's not getting a response, it's going to make them mad. It's going to make them irritated. They're going to feel isolated. And they, especially if they don't know that there's programs like BYOP and SAYS and things that they can go to with help, they just going to continue to fester or feel powerless or like the comment said, feel like they failed or feel powerless.
Yeah. And unfortunately, what I heard from the parents in my session this weekend is that they don't pull their kids because the law mandates them sending their kids to school. Even if they know what's going on, they're reluctant to pull them out because then they trigger other laws and other punishments. But if they show up to the campus and they going off like you're saying, schools then use this little restraining order thing that they have to prevent you from coming up there seeing about your child. So it's kind of like walking in, on eggshells or in a landmine. You're trying to figure out the best way to balance what you know and what you do about what you know. And then you're trying to deal with this system of folks who think they know more than you because they've been there for a long time and they've never been really confronted for the way in which they deal with children in the first place. And so it's creating a very interesting Molotov cocktail, if you will, because eventually something's going to pop off if you don't, watch the way in which you're handling or mishandling someone's child. So does silence escalate conflict that could have been prevented with simple communication, Mr. Fox?
It most definitely does. In my blah 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 blah.
What are you having? What is going on?
Sour is, boy, I am not 3 years old. I'm 43.
Okay. Question.
People give me some sour candy. Hey, boy. Yes, the reason why for me, when I notice some of the hostilities when I show up, and for all of you guys as well too, the parent normally has I'm not blaming nobody, getting into none of that baby mama daddy stuff, but a lot of women have more than one child. Mm-hmm. So you have something going on with this child at the school, and she already has 2 other kids at the school. So you got this, I'm getting notes back with this teacher, but I can't get to this teacher. And my friend knows that teacher, and you know what I mean? It's a network. And then this kid plays with these other kids at school, and the parents have their own network of information too. You know what I mean? So when they hear something, they call, they get on the phone too, and they, girl, what you heard about Miss Wooty Whoop? Now she didn't call Miss Lorene, her partner, and she did my daughter wrong too. And what? I heard from Alyssa for the same thing. Now you done heard 3 different bad stories about this person who's not contacting you, and my other kid is still going to this school. So it does make it better. It makes it worse because now the parents start saying, "Oh, these other teachers can do this, but this other one can't." And to Patrice and Coco's point, like they were saying when we were talking last time, it is a lot of good teachers. Sometimes it's not the system. Sometimes it's the bad teacher. One bad teacher can make a lot of good teachers look bad. Unfortunately, it's like that because the system has continued to produce bad apples. We have solutions. Are you using the solutions?
Do you think that they're producing bad apples, or do you think the bad apples are more amplified than the good ones?
No, I think they're producing bad apples. That, to me, that is the systematic stuff. That's your uncle. That's your nephew. Y'all grandfathered in. Yeah.
Melissa's shaking her head, so I'm gonna go to her. Do you think the system is creating a bunch of bad apples, or do you think that the bad apples are being magnified by their behavior?
I think that the system. I don't think that this is. It's a complicated layer question, but I think that there are people who have a problem in their heart and have biases towards Black children and just don't like children overall, but do go into the education system and they are amplified within the education system because children will go back and will talk and parents will try to advocate for their children. So I don't necessarily believe that the system just creates these bad teachers. I think because underneath teachers and everybody in different fields, they're all people. And there are bad people who go into we have terrible nurses, we have terrible doctors, we have terrible bus drivers who work for the community. We have bad people everywhere. So I don't think we can say that that it's just the education system that creates bad teachers, because then we'd have to say that about every single system that there is, because there are just bad people in the world. We have bad politicians. We have bad people in every single field that there is. So I don't know if we can say that the education system creates bad teachers, because we'd have to say that about every single system that there is, because there are just bad people in the world who have jobs, and those jobs also happen to affect our children.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? Can I say something to that too? One thing I think about teachers, what they may be misunderstood about, is not understanding what you're going in there to do. You probably got this job and you thought I was going to teach math. I'm going to teach science. And it might have been their dream. They might have really had a passion for it, but not understanding that you're still dealing with people. And dealing with people, it doesn't look like it does. I myself, I don't have no kids, right? But this is what kids look like to me. I'm an uncle. I'm come home. This is my nephew. All the stuff. That's what it is. You nephew, you're going to be doing this, and that's what it is. And I told him to do it. Hey, boy, do what I told you to do. Guess what he told me? He looked me right in my face and said, no. After he ate my food, you know what I'm saying? Slept in my house. You know what I'm saying? But this is blood relation.
Yeah.
So what do you think he's going to tell somebody he don't even know?
Yeah.
Let alone do he understand the question that you even asked him?
So kids are kidding. They doing what they're doing.
And sometimes
That I can agree with. Yeah, for sure.
As I'm learning this lesson and I'm doing it, I have to be flexible. Sometimes I have to understand. I do not expect a classroom of 15 to sit and be quiet, let alone a classroom of 30
or 40.
So,
Right. And you're teaching human beings. You're not teaching math. You're not teaching science. You're teaching humans. So at the end of the day, you have to find humanity in people to be an effective teacher, right? You have to see the humanity in your children. And sometimes teachers get so caught up on the subject matter and forget that you're teaching a human being. And you know what I'm like you were saying, Fox, you can't expect children to sit still all day. That's not human nature to sit in a seat for 8 hours a day and get material like dropped in your head all day. Like education has to be innovative and interactive and engaging, and you know what I mean? All these different things.
I like that you say that too, Patrice.
Sometimes
Go ahead.
And also, too, when you go into these credential programs, it takes some of that passion. It takes some of that things out of you. You know, I can remember taking education classes at UC Davis and having a passion for something, but they're like, no, you have to do this, or no, you have to do that. So when you get in these systems, they break you as well, right? Then sometimes you got Teach for America and things like that who drop you in communities that you probably wasn't even passionate about teaching in, but now you're trying to get rid of these loans. So the system do play a part in it as well, because it does break passion. It doesn't teach you humanity. It doesn't teach you that you're dealing with people. It teaches you all these other things. You know, I can remember being in my education classes and they wouldn't even let me write about SES. You know, they wouldn't let me go into SES and say what I was doing was education, but that was my passion. So I had to find other ways around it just to pass that class. So there is a lot of teachers who get in these credential programs and they do break you and make you become a bad teacher and take your passions out of what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I've heard all four of y'all say something and that I just wanted to highlight out, and I didn't catch it until what you were saying, Patrice. What I was going to say is the learning.
Yeah.
You have people, I've learned this through the IEPs. A lot of kids, they've been going at them wrong, and it doesn't even come discovered until the IEP comes out. You've been yelling and yelling and yelling at the kid, and he's a visual learner. You've been doing this, that, and the other with the kid. And in some cases, it's so much of like a simple detail. You didn't realize this kid was left-handed. You didn't realize the kid. You know what I mean? There's like small details, and for teachers, like I said, I'm not somebody who just speaks against teachers and just say, oh, I'm against teachers. I speak it in the form of yes, there's bad teachers, but I want to uplift too. In the form of uplifting. Hey, don't forget, man, it's different styles of teaching. You can't get at a child one way, come at him another. Sometimes you got to lower your voice. Sometimes you got to get on that knee.
Or sometimes you have to realize that a child is colorblind, and when you say pick the red or the green, they can't distinguish between the two. So you should probably stop punishing them for that and stop not answering the family's emails about why you continually give out punitive measures when you could have simply looked at his IEP and realized that he was blind, colorblind, right? And those are some of the things that we've had to go in and walk folks through because they weren't responsive to the families when they brought them up, right? And so do systems rely on silence because they know families will eventually give up?
I think they hope families will.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you from the school board perspective, families will come, they will go off one time, even if they make it to the school board, and they won't come back because they did not get a response. And during public comment, if you ever talk during public comment, the board cannot respond because it's rules, right?
Mm.
And so if you're expecting a response in that forum and you don't get the response, then they don't come back. And I believe that schools rely on them not coming back, especially Black parents. They know all I got to deal with. Okay, something happened with little TT. Okay, TT, mama gonna come up here. She gonna cuss us out. We gonna slap her with a order, and then she not gonna be back, right? But how do we address the silence and give them the impression that you're not getting away with this, or I'm not leaving so easily?
Right. Unfortunately, advocating for your child is a lot of work. You got to work at it every day. Like I dealt with one major issue at when my daughter was in 7th and 8th grade with the same teacher. And it took, I think, about 32 emails for me to get the issue resolved. And between those 32 emails, this is like, I'm sending them to my sisters, like, read this. Do I need anything else? Like, should I add this? I'm talking to parents, so it takes a lot of time. And I think sometimes the silence, schools are relying on the silence to buy them time, but also to just wait it out.
Yes.
Because sometimes we have so much to already carry just in raising kids and working that you get tired. Because at some point I was like, listen, I don't feel like going to the school board meeting, but I'm gonna go. I gotta talk to the Area 3 superintendent. I'm going all the way to the top if I have to. But the amount of time that it took to get that issue resolved was like another job. It was truly a weight that I had to carry and lift. And so I know that in the silence, schools are banking on parents giving up. And a lot of times, like you said, you might go to the school board meeting one time and do public comment. You can't get an answer right then and there because, like you said, it's against the rules for the board to talk. And so it's just like, okay, I'm not being heard.
I'm wasting my time.
I'm wasting my time. And I really think that public comment is designed to really defeat people at times because, I didn't have public comment. And I'm so passionate about it. And the board just looking at me and I'm like, okay, well, what I even come up here for? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? So I do think that in the work of organizing, in the work of advocating, it takes a lot of time to get things done. And sometimes the way that these teachers' union contracts are written in the ways that in some districts, they don't even get disciplined. Like it's in their contracts that they can't get fired for certain, certain infractions. So I just think that schools rely on silence to buy them time. They rely on silence to discourage parents from continuing the fight. And they use silence as a method to protect themselves and to just hope that the problems disappear.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? We're gonna segue real quick because we're not just about laying out the problems. We want to give them some advice too, right?
Yeah.
So as a BVBOE team, what would transparent communication actually look like in difficult situations? Melissa.
Transparent communication from the school to the parent or family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at first, it's just acknowledging that there's an issue to begin with, not the automated, oh, we are going to take 5 to 7 business days to respond to your email. Like, no, like a genuine, acknowledgement that there is an issue. We hear you, and explaining to parents there is a process to, because we understand there is a process within the education system. You have to go to higher ups and all of that stuff. Like the person you complain to might not be the person to solve your problem. So I think that acknowledging first that there is an issue and then explaining there is a process, but you do matter and we are going to try to help solve your issue to the best of our ability. And I'm going to pass it on to somebody else who can better support you in this issue than I can in my role. I think the first thing is just acknowledgement, because I think that's where, like Ms. Patrice was saying, a lot of people give up. Like you go to the school board meeting, you think this is where I'm going to get at least an answer to one of the many questions that I have. And you go up there and and nothing, and you can't get a response, but you're saying they cannot give a response, but parents don't know that. And I think that's the other thing, the explaining to parents what is happening, because a lot of parents just don't understand how the school system works and they don't understand why things are the way that they are. And so they're trying to advocate for themselves, not knowing that you're talking to the wrong people, or there is a process and we legally can't respond to you until this. Like, I think just explaining how things are going to work moving forward, and then acknowledging that I see you and you matter and we're going to fix the problem. I think that's where it starts.
Mr. Fox, what would transparent communication look like in difficult situations?
Exactly what the definition of transparency is. But dip school,
how would you advise them?
I would advise them to keep emailing, keep emailing, find you an advocate, keep talking, keep saying you have the right to talk. You have the right to talk. You have the right to send your email. You have the right to seek other answers. Go at this. I want to see parents get more involved. Come ask questions about your child the same way you ask questions about the settings in your iPhone. Come learn about the institution and the institution that you're setting your child into. Oftentimes parents are saying they care about their kids, and knows. Again, I'm not shaming the parents, but how often do the parents even investigate the institutions that they sending their children into?
Right.
Yeah, but as far as transparent communication, if something is wrong, ring the bell. Just because somebody else being silent on the other side of the field, I mean, I got to be silent on my side of the field. You want to play silent? Listen, you gonna have to talk to me. You see my child every day. Now all of a sudden, like Melissa said, you want me to talk to an animated system. You were in the parking lot last week. Now you made this phone call. Now you don't want to talk to me. And sometimes I think that they can't be transparent in their communication, because sometimes teachers make phone calls and do stuff out of anger, and then it gets blown out of proportion. And now that's what I need these 5 to 7 business days so we can figure out how we can fix my mess up. They don't have an answer for you. That's why they're not talking to you.
Gotcha. Coco, how can schools respond quickly without feeling like they're admitting fault prematurely?
Respond quickly to if something's happening.
I'm assuming when we take that question, it says, so say they got an email from a parent about something that transpired. How can they respond quickly without feeling like they're admitting fault prematurely?
Well, to respond to an email is easy. You don't have to put in there. You can at least acknowledge. You can at least say, I got your email. Thank you. I'm looking over it. There needs to be how when you call the doctors, they say 20 to 48 hours or something. You should be able to respond with an email like, hey, I acknowledge it. Please give us 20 to 40 something hours. And if nobody get back to you, follow up. Then there's a way to acknowledge, people's emails, people's calls, and then give yourself time to do the research or whatever it is that you need to do. But you should be responding within the 24 or 48 hours. And if you don't have somebody, then you might have to hire somebody or put it on somebody's job. Like, hey, when we get these emails, this is what we do. This is our protocol. And I would post the protocol on the school's websites. Like, listen, this is how we're responding to emails, so parents could get familiar with the response time. That's what I would do, or I would hope that schools would do when parents are emailing them.
Well, and you know what? I find so interesting and so funny. They will call you every single day if your child is doing something they don't like.
Oh, absolutely.
They will not wait 20 to 48 hours or whatever it is.
Yes.
They are going to call you daily. They are going to tell you daily. They're going to send a business log home. They're going to send like they didn't get to green today. They were on red because this happened. Like, there are so many different things that they do automatically daily, but when it comes to responding to a parent, like, I just don't understand the delay.
I don't think understand. This would be making people mad. This would make me mad.
What makes you mad? When you
respond to my emails, this would make me mad. To me, an email ain't nothing but a text message, and I see people driving their cars and all that. They like this. Now all of a sudden you ain't get my text message, you ain't get my email. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a text message, man. You better text me back.
That's what you get mad about?
Yeah, because they be like, oh, I didn't get the email, but you got the text message. Email ain't nothing but a text message, man.
The reason why I gave the 24 to 48 hours was because you said to not take fault into,
no, they do that. Mm-hmm.
There is things that they might be dealing with during the day too. So to give them a little bit of time, but they definitely should be responding no later than the next day.
Oh, yeah. And I agree. I agree with everything you said, but I know that they don't wait 24, 48 hours to call and tell you your child is showing his behind in the classroom.
They not gonna know. They gonna call right then and there. Some parents call right there on the spot in front of the other kids.
They do. And you know how I know they be angry? This how you know that the teacher be angry, because they say stuff like this. What's going on in your home? That's an angry statement. You didn't just, they'll just say, hey, little Dominique, he had a bad day at school. Hey, Dominique, did he eat last night? What time did you go to bed?
Foxwell, you missed the whole wave where they was doing parent-teacher conferences at the home. There was a whole wave where teachers was coming to the home to do parent-teacher conferences. I actually volunteered.
You know what? How did that work?
I don't want nobody coming to my house.
It was actually okay for me. I went ahead and volunteered and did it because I wanted her to see that Black families and Black mothers did have their households right. My son had books. My son had his desk. My son had all the stuff that he wanted to need. He needed. So I wanted to represent, like, yes, there is some single mothers out there. You can come to this house. You can do whatever you want to do. But baby, this one right here, this little Black boy is being taken care of. So, but there was a whole way, Fox, where they were actually going to the house to do parent-teacher conferences to be nosy about what's going on.
Don't come to my house. You're not invited. Don't. And my house is clean, but you can't come.
It's a teacher at the time I really did love. Shout out Mrs. Shondo. She retired. She was a great teacher. My son's third and fourth grade teacher. She held it down at John Cabrillo. So shout out Mrs. Shondo.
I love it. Miss Patrice, what responsibility do schools have to communicate even when they don't yet have the answers?
They have, they're... Lord, I hear y'all on the 24 to 48 hours, but as a parent dealing with something, I don't got that amount of time. I need to know something right now, even if you don't have the answer. Even if you don't have the answer, just acknowledge that I've communicated with you and that we are going to work together to resolve this issue. Schools should. You're responsible. You're legally responsible for my child during the school day. So you are also legally responsible to communicate with me on behalf of my child any issues that transpire during the school day. And so I believe that the school is responsible to communicate effectively immediately. And we know that's not happening. But I believe that we have to take some accountability as parents as well. Like Fox was saying earlier, to be, privy to the institutions that we're sending our children to. I did a lot of research on high schools in the area, and I've worked in schools in the area for 2 decades, and I still was at a stumble when it was time to for my daughter to go to high school. And so I know the landscape of the education system in Sacramento, and I know what schools are doing this and what schools are doing that. But we have to be very cautious around the ways that we just drop our children off and ride off, because our children are spending a lot of time at school. And if we are not informed about what happens during the school day, who our students' teachers are. I know it's a lot of meetings and a lot of emails. They send emails out every week about what they need to fundraise for and who they playing and who's in the playoffs and this and that. So the same communication should be given when it's individual instances of parents asking for resources and support and response when it comes to dealing with issues with their children. Simple acknowledgement, like Ms. Tawana said, a simple acknowledgement goes a long way. Then a follow-up, then follow up with the response. Right. I agree. Like, even if it's going to take you 24 to 48 hours to get to investigate the issue, that's fine. But you should respond to me immediately, or at least in the same school day if I'm reaching out as a parent on behalf of something that is affecting my child.
And that's the least you can do. Ignoring a problem does not resolve it. It just transfers the burden. We also know that silence doesn't remove power. It concentrates it. Families don't escalate because they enjoy conflict. I think that folks need to remember that. All families don't enjoy conflict. They escalate because silence leaves them no other option. If something is going on with my child and I reach out to you and you do not respond, as a matter of fact, I want to say, let me see what the name of this school is. I'm still waiting for a response to the email that I sent. What is it? Learning by Design in Los Angeles. I emailed you on Friday to talk about a kid that you said you were going to withdraw from your school, but you're not following the law as it pertains to charter schools. And because charter schools, especially homeschool charter schools, don't really go by the same laws in terms of attendance, I need you to provide evidence of what exactly this child's missing work is. I want to know what law you're basing your withdrawal on, since you don't follow the same type of attendance requirements and the child is not technically truant. So if Learning by Designs would actually get back to me before I really get upset about this child, they're threatening to withdraw simply because they've been silent since December. This child went into homeschool because they were silent when the mom sent over a complaint about her child being mishandled on the campus, and the father of the kid who actually fought with the young girl. The father stepped in and told her to keep her hands off his daughter. And it was very threatening. And the mom sent a complaint about that, and the school ignored that. And then mom kept escalating, sending more emails questioning what was going on campus. And because the administrators felt that they were questioning their ability to run the school, they went silent. Now enter BYLP in March. And so we're just looking for schools to be more transparent about what it is that they're trying to do. Unfortunately for them, the mom reached out to us, and we actually know California law as it pertains to charter schools and home independent study programs. And so it would behoove them to respond to that, because again, that parent is a little bit more boisterous than I, meaning she believes in putting hands and feet on people who handle her child. And I think being able to calm her down and let the situation, the course play out, I think we're pushing parents into corners, and the only option we're leaving them is to come out swinging. And so we need to rethink how we are handling people's children that we are in charge of for a period of time.
I think they it's not just pushing people in corners. It's a hard one for people. When I'm looking at somebody who, if my child has a problem with you, or you have a problem with my child, and you've now sent this message home about my child, but you won't talk to me, but you have this smoke for my child. I don't have a child. I can only imagine how it feels. I have nephews and nieces. I don't have my nephews and nieces around people that got smoke with me. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine how a parent feels about wanting to send my child into a place that's saying that my child has a problem in there, but you're not talking to me.
Refuse to talk to me.
And you want me to think that my child feels safe with you. I don't see that. I think that my child not safe with you, and until we rectify it, I understand why parents be pulling their kids out of school. I'm not saying that it's the right answer, but I understand what people feel. But like people, because you're talking about mothers, the people that you're talking about in the community, right? You're talking about the same level of mothers who have had to keep these children away from their fathers, or away from other system impacted things. You're talking about mothers who have had to say, I don't have my child around my sister, I don't have my child around my whoopty whoop, and now you want me to send him back into this school that's saying he has a problem, when I've already took the stance to draw the line and say, I don't even let this boy's foul ass daddy see him. Who are you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But there's no laws that preclude you from keeping your kid away from the father. I mean, not like education law, that if I keep my kid from school for, I think it's up to 11 days, then they become truant.
Right. Yeah. I understand the parent feeling the protection.
Oh yeah,
it's
the
not
protection.
The truant they're looking at. They're looking at the fact that, how can I put my child in a place of a person who must have a problem with me?
Yeah. I mean, and pretty much in the email chain, you can tell that there was a lot of friction with the parent because the parent had the audacity to ask specific questions about the protocols on the campus. And if you just don't know your protocols, say you don't know the protocols, but not having an answer, your answer saying, I don't like the way this communication is going, so I'm going to withdraw from this conversation, and you can basically speak to our lawyer. That's like you escalating a situation that really didn't even need all that. All it needed was for cooler heads to prevail and for folks to actually focus on what's best for the child and not their own egos. Because a lot of this, in my opinion, comes from posturing. You know what I mean? It comes from posturing. And so when you're posturing, you're not really thinking about the effects it's actually having on the person who's affected, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
It do make sense because we've all been in the rooms. And one thing none of us never be understanding is the posturing. Why are you playing so gangster about this kid's future? You're doing everything you can to prevent me from helping this kid get a better future, and I'm doing everything I can to just help the kid have a soccer ball for the future. Here's a back for the future kid. I don't know what, but I'm doing everything I can
to come in and stop the school to prison pipeline. And
we're trying to
stop their school to prison
pipeline. And the only thing that's stopping it is people's integrity. Every conversation, because every conversation we've had so far, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So far right now, to me, this is Fox's opinion. To me, the tables are set. We know what the issues are. We have enough educated people on our side of the field to speak to issues. We know the law. We've come to you with the law, and we've spoken it. We've been to school board meetings. We did it. But when are you, as a system, just gonna stop doing the silent thing? The silent thing, like I said, is a trick. So again, there's no such thing as fixing the system, revamping the system, because solution after solution after solution has been dropped. We're in a situation where we just have to keep pushing. No matter what, we just have to keep pushing because they're going to continue to go against our solutions.
And I think it's important to understand that communication is accountability's first step. We cannot get anywhere if we cannot acknowledge how the role that we played in the situation. And a lot of times you have adults posturing, and because there is an imbalance of power, right? You have adults arguing with children, and when the children come and get their parent, I've heard adults tell children, oh, you had to go get your mommy. Well, absolutely. Yeah, they did. They had to go get their mom because there's a power imbalance. I'm going to come in with that adult energy. But then they like to then escalate and say, you know what? We're not going to deal with that parent. And then they like to do like that one school did, have the family and community engagement person tell the parent, oh, well, this is what's happening in with your son, and if you don't like it, something. And the mom said, you know what, I'm about to come up there. She's like, okay. And the mom pulled up, and then they called the campus security. Like, but why didn't we just say, you know what, I understand that there was an issue here. Let's figure out how we can come together in the village mentality and work on what's in the best interest of this kid. So with that, family, look, I'm going to give y'all about 30 seconds for your closing thoughts, and we're going to get up out of here because we got other stuff to do. So Mr. Fox, let me start with you because you got to get out of here quickly. Any closing thoughts any advice you would have for families, for the schools, and how to better communicate for the best interest of the kid?
That caught me on a blank right now. All I knew,
that was a crazy head nod, though.
Because I was patting myself on the back. I'm up in here with 4 sharp sisters. All I knew, be ready up in here with my sisters. I was happy to have the conversation with y'all. Y'all call us. Call us BYLP. Call it. We out here. We work with y'all. We love y'all. We only come here to give you guys this information that we have learned ourselves and our daily application of. Later, ladies, I got to go to BBSN. Y'all always know I'm here for y'all. And if nobody know, I'm all these ladies' security.
All of us. All right.
Yes.
Well, all right. Melissa, 30 seconds.
Appreciate you, brother.
You know it.
Melissa.
Parents and families deserve to be acknowledged, so fight for your worth.
Yep.
Love it. Coco.
Yeah. Keep fighting, keep pushing, keep showing up, keep knocking on doors, keep asking questions. And like Fox and Melissa said, reach out to people in your community, reach out to us if you need some help. We can help you navigate this thing, but just keep trying. You got to keep trying, like the Jackers say.
Love it. Mama P.
Audrey Lord says your silence will not protect you. So schools, your silence is not going to protect you. Parents, don't let the silence, take the silence for violence. Keep emailing, keep communicating, keep calling. Get everything in writing. If they try to like dodge you with a phone call or a meeting, get it in writing. They do phone calls so they can keep it out of black and white. Keep emailing, just keep showing up. We know it's hard. We know it takes a lot of work to advocate, but your child, your community is dependent on you. Like Coco said, just keep communicating. Do what you have to do. And if you need resources, you got resources.
Perfect. Isaiah's showing me something. What did I say? Oh, March 20th and 21st, we are helping kids amplify their voices by producing our 2026 legislative open house at the state capitol, and followed by a day of workshops at the Holiday Inn downtown. If your young people are not signed up and you want them to get some tools in their toolbox, make sure you head over to our website, www.bylp.org, and sign them up for LOH 26. We cannot wait. It's about, I don't know, 2 weeks away, a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's coming quick. So we look forward to seeing your young people with that. If you don't know, we also are doing something called Family Support Days, or we have our Family Support Food Pantry open to community families. So if you need food, if you are hungry and you just need some time to go through and grab stuff off the shelves, make sure you go to our website and you can create an appointment to come through and get your snacks and your food for your refrigerator. We are who we are because other people helped out. And so we're getting back to that village mentality. It takes one to reach one. And so each one reach one and teach one. That's why my sisters from SES are here. So with that, Melissa, what we talking about next week? What we got?
Next week on the podcast, we were talking about testing season being a business model. So we are questioning who standardized testing actually holds accountable and whether the fallout lands disproportionately on certain students while systems remain protected.
Ooh-wee. All right, another good one next week. So I just want, before we get out of here, I have to acknowledge that the teachers in Twin Rivers are
on strike, day 3.
Currently for better working conditions. And tomorrow, my understanding is Natomas is about to pop off. So we'll have 2 districts striking at the same time. If you need support as families, because somebody's got to make up these service minutes, if you need support as families, make sure to reach out to us and we'll figure out how we can best assist you. So with that, we're going to hit y'all with the peace sign. We'll see y'all next week right here on Black versus the Board of Education. Peace.